Hello, you are listening to Skipping the Queue. We are covering Ultraman Blazar, episode 25, the final episode, the finale. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
I love a potential family man.
I am also joined by Brad.
Future.
So, we watched the finale of Ultraman Blazar.
Yeah. Asterisk.
Do we want to summarize before or after we mention that most of the finale is missing?
Well, you brought it up, so I feel like we might as well go into it.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, let me pull up the tweet, which I'll probably put in the description.
We got a real Zack Snyder situation going on here.
Yeah. Actually, no, wait, it wasn't a tweet. It was just like I saw in my Discord server. Apparently, according to Warabino, who is Gento's actor, Takeuchi basically made an episode for the finale that was like about as long as the movie will be, but they had to cut it down to 25 minutes because, of course, they did, because it's a TV episode. And you know what? Well, first of all, that's a very stupid thing to do, to be honest. But second of all, I think watching the episode, hearing the after fact, I'm like, you know what? I think that makes sense.
Yeah, did he not know he was making a TV show? What are you doing? Like this, like the Zack Snyder comparison is like, what if Zack Snyder knew that he was gonna get fired and someone was gonna cut it down shorter? Like instead of like, what if he deliberately did it for some reason instead of just him making his movie and then having to, and then getting pushed out of it. This is truly a bizarre way to make a television show. I wouldn't do this. First of all, it seems expensive, and second of all, what are you doing? Just what?
Yeah, like make the episode within a time frame.
Yeah. It's almost like also too, if it needed to be that long, maybe you should have done some of that work in the episodes leading up to it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe you shouldn't had a second Del Tandle episode.
Maybe. The second Del Tandle episode's good. It's the Ace Combat one. I can't be too mad.
So
the second Del Tandle episode.
Do we really have to have a discussion over whether we pick the first or second Pigmon episode?
I can't believe we went with the pick we did. The first Pigmon. We're not going into this. I mean, you could just tidy up some of this. I don't even necessarily need to think you need to scrap any of the previous episodes. I think you could just tidy this up. I think you could cut some of this stuff. I think you could safely cut the family because they're not in the show.
They're not real.
Well, what about the big heartwarming moment at the end that we'll get to later?
Does his family ever interact with anyone else in the show?
No. The kid does. The kid does.
Because the kid. You're right. I was about to say,
Jin has friends.
Yes, but are we sure they're real either?
Oh
they
my
could
God.
all just be in his mind.
No, so they're all the different child actors that play Jun at different points in the show.
What if like the kids invented Gavadon, Jun and Sadako are Gento's personal Gavadon?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That works.
It goes deep.
Yeah, we'll get to the bizarre ending where he gets a power up from his family despite never seeing them.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw some people be like, "Hey, is this a ploy by Taguchi to get like the episode count higher?" And to which I say, that's stupid.
That's a bad ploy.
That's a really stupid ploy.
Yeah, and like one of my mutuals, I think I'll put that tweet in the description if I need to, but like she went like a big dive on like the Japanese like industry at the moment, and like the way things are right now, Toei doing like 50 episode shows is the exception to the rule that like this shit isn't feasible anymore. And like some of it is just like, oh, it's been grandfathered in to an extent. So it's, even though if Ultraman had 50 episodes in the past, it may not ever be feasible to do it again under the current conditions of society. And I even saw there's like, there have been internal complaints by people who work on like even Toei shows that like, bro, we can't do this. We need to cut down the number of episodes.
Right. Yeah.
So it might even be a thing where like, even 50 episode like Toei shows, which has been the standard, are like in calling in questions just because of like the reality of film and TV production in Japan in the present moment. Because we all know how on fire the anime production is. Like we talk about like we know like we talk about how G-Witch would have been nicer with like, well, people who aren't red.
Everyone except me.
G-Witch would be nicer if it had like 50 episodes, but it had like 25 and 26 or so in comparison to like, you know, previous Gundam shows. And so, you know, it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. So also too, because the implication from the thing you sent us was that all of the uncut stuff is going to be on that Blu-ray when that comes out. Am I correct?
The thing is, it sounds like they want to put it in, but it's not a guaranteed thing. That's what it sounds like.
That's so weird.
So this part of the ploy is saying like, "Ooh, we got this stuff, and maybe it'll make it onto the Blu-ray," and this is like an internal push.
Maybe that's just like a speculation. But like, okay, I pulled up the tweet by my mutual Mako Matari, who's a big Ultraman fan, and she says, "Did a little digging. Ultra's current seasons are capped to 25 episodes because one, TV Tokyo, which is the station in question, is short on sponsors to fund longer shows, and labor shortages in the industry make longer shows very difficult to justify the production of." And then let me just see. Twitter is really annoying about like being able to like see tweets. Replies. Most shows are made to be 12 to 25 episodes, and it's difficult to get higher than that without throwing a lot of money at the project. So that's why Kamen Rider and Sentai are an exception. 50 episode shows are struggling to stay viable. Some Toei staffs protested with the working conditions of rider shows, and even questioned cutting it down to 25 episodes. And it's also worth noting that even shorter productions, like recent Ultraman shows, have received complaints about production difficulty, but it's even more intensified in the longer shows. And then there's also another comment by my mutual Triblast, who does the Ultra Blog DX stuff, who pointed out that like in the replies that like even in cases where it's a money thing, like Bandai is the one footing the bill and Bandai has a lot of money, but like money doesn't help labor. So
right.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, Bandai can throw all the money in the world at it, but that doesn't solve like the fundamental other problems of the industry right now.
Okay. Well, I'll
put the tweet thread in the description. So
I think given the limitations you have, I think it's stupid to just make more than that and just be like,
maybe we'll put the bonus on the Blu-ray.
Yeah. That's even worse than like the thing you get in anime, which is like, we're gonna shit out whatever we can manage right now for broadcast, and then the version that actually looks good will be on the Blu-ray.
I'm thinking about Macaca City Actors.
Yeah, it's not ideal, and I do think it really shows in the episode, because it's just like, oh god, I think of all the final episodes we have watched in our coverage of various Ultra things, I think this is by far the weakest. I don't know how either of you feel, but
the finale of Ultraman by volume is mostly flying around.
It does have meat chunks and
It has meat chunks.
I still think it.
Huh.
So here's the thing: outside of like the final kaiju design, as a story, I don't know if this lands for me even as minimal as what's in Ultraman, as well as Ultraman's ending does.
Yeah. I'll also just throw out there as like a fun little note. Dawn Brothers also had a director's cut of the final episode, but that was just 3 minutes longer and not like movie length.
That's like normal.
That's normal. That's fine.
That is. That's just the point of comparison.
God.
Do we want to summarize?
Yeah, we should summarize the episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the broad, there are several threads happening. There is, Blazar is dead, except not dead. And Valeron has fallen to Earth, is wrecking Tokyo.
Gets a new form, I think, too. Looks cool.
Valeron, cool. Big fan.
Yeah, it's
then we've got.
I will say,
kaiju.
overall, not particularly thrilled with this final episode. I do think this is the sickest final kaiju we've gotten, design-wise.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do like Zedon a lot, but also it is,
You don't like the train?
I'll have you know that's not the final episode of Ultra Q. That's the 12th episode of Ultra 7.
Oh, the final episode of... Oh, wait, this makes it Totala.
Yeah.
This is the final
you know what?
kaiju.
Okay, yeah, never mind. Totala is actually probably... Yeah, Totala clears. We'll talk about Totala.
A walrus in the sky!
Yeah, we'll talk about Totala.
We have Totala content to give you, Red.
What?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We'll get to it in the Return of Ultraman episode.
Yeah.
I see. I understand. Okay. So, yes, Valeron is on Earth wrecking shit. Scarred returns to Earth on Earth Garon, and Gento's in, he's kind of wrecked.
Emmy's arrested, but instead of throwing her in like a cell, what I can only assume is like some custodian's closet.
It's a really big custodian's closet. Is the thing? It's like really wide.
It's really wide. It's a
well,
weird
not
room.
wide. It's more like it's deep.
Yeah,
It's
really weird.
It's a big room. So let me first do like the main plot stuff, which is happening in Emmy. The main like backstory of why everything has happened. We'll put it in Emmy's thing.
Here, I'll save you a minute. An Ideon happened.
Yes, Ideon happened. So it turned out because the guy that was the direct commander, I can never remember his name.
His name is Yu.
Yu. Okay. He rocks up to. No, I mean the direct commander of Scarred previously.
Oh, Haruno.
Haruno, that's the guy. Haruno rocks up, saves Emmy from this weird cell.
I just want to point out that like this, you hear like the guards being beaten up outside, and then he lets her out, and then you see like over the side is his assistant who does the beating up, which is really fun.
And he's still beating up the guy.
I want to ask, how old is Haruno? How old is Haruno's actor?
I
Let
don't.
me check.
I was also kind of wondering this because
The entire show, I've been like, that is a 30-year-old man who's been dressed up like he's ancient.
See, I had the exact opposite. I'm like, I bet this is
character-
an older guy who like looks way younger than he actually is.
He's in the show, according to the Ultraman Wiki, he's 56 years old.
Okay.
He's 60 though. He was born in 63.
shit.
Damn. Well, you're doing all right, mate.
Yeah, Christ.
Yeah, so he saves Emmy, gives her the book that he saved from the burning bin, and she flips through it. It's turns out Dobashi Yu, the villain of the show, pulled the trigger when a UFO turned up years and years ago, and shot it out of the sky, and it turned out they were unarmed, and these were the V-99, Emmy's like, you started this war, because what happens is a bunch of spaceships arrive while the fight with Valeron is happening on Earth, and they're all approaching Earth, and Emmy manages to. Well, I guess we'll come back to Emmy. Valeron fight. Earth Garon is launched with what's his face is now Teruaki is now in charge of Scud. He's got full command of Scud because Gento has
Gento, like, I think wants to do the thing where he's like going to ignore the doctor's orders and fight anyway.
But then Blazar is alive and he's gonna fight with Blazar again.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna use this moment I'm gonna use the doctor as an excuse to turn into Blazar.
Yeah,
while also simultaneously having an emotional moment with Blazar.
Yeah, he says he goes to say goodbye to Blazar, and then Blazar wakes up and is like, "We will go." He does the line.
Cry.
Yeah, and then Gento turns into Blazar. He gives Teruaki the full command of Scud, turns into Blazar, and Teruaki orders the launch of Earth Garon. I want to point out, when Verlon lands at Earth, it just destroys Comiket.
Oh, I did not notice. That's funny.
I was like, oh, I've seen that building before, and then later people were talking about it. I was like, oh, wait.
That's funny.
Damn, rip. The fight goes down in Tokyo, where Blazar and Earth Garon teaming up to fight Valeron. At some point, Emmy makes the breakthrough, and then she like she's in like the command room, dressing down Tobashi Yu for what he did, and then she gets like on the mic, on the comms, and Scud learn about what's happening, and it's all missiles are armed and ready to fire at the spaceships, the alien spaceships, and Teruaki orders like, well, we have to stop the fight with Valeron. We have to make peace for now. And Blazar's one thing, has got an arrow ready to shoot Valeron dead, and Earth Garon stands between the two of them. And then Blazar gets the message, and the two of them just take hits from Valeron until Earth Garon can transmit because Earth Garon was made with this alien technology, so he can communicate with the aliens.
It's very convenient.
As Yasunobu puts, that's why you're full of top secret stuff. It's because you're fucking alien robot parts.
I like this bit. I think Earth Garon being made. I think this is a nice, tidy little way of wrapping things up with aliens, where it's like Earth Garon. How did they make Earth Garon? Well, they made Earth Garon because they had access to alien technology. Earth Garon now able to communicate with those aliens. I think
also makes sense why there's only like one of them, and not a fleet of them. You only got what you could salvage.
The Earth Garon fleet. God.
Now,
the Garon fleet. Sorry. Yes, it would be Earth Garon, Mars Garon, etc.
I was about to say, we do need to maybe discuss the problematic nature of them stealing alien parts and then calling it Earth Garon. But,
cultural appropriation.
Yeah, this is a little fucked up.
V99 Garon.
Yes.
But
I also do like that this is their convenient excuse to be like, well, Earth Garon could translate and talk on our behalf.
Yeah, it's like a relatively limited translation. They they send out like the aliens are talking about like fear, and like they're afraid of Earth, they're afraid of humans. Rightly so. We've seen some Ultra shows.
Yeah, they heard about Karada.
Yeah. Yeah. They've heard of Karada. Not anymore.
It also
got him.
Makes like a reference or whatever to something like Planet of Light in the little scrambled messaging too. I noted.
This is true. This is true.
It's aware of our boy
Paris. Planet of Light. The land of light. Yes. So they managed to, humanity manages to transmit the idea of like our future to the aliens, and they manage to persuade them that we just want a future, just like you, and the aliens back off and they leave. They go on.
Except they don't
continue
take
their
their giant
they
fucking
don't
attack
take,
dog.
They don't take their Valeron with them, which is very convenient for the children watching the show who want to see a sick fight.
I hated this so goddamn much. Like, this was where the episode kind of lost me, I'm not gonna lie. Because the thing that frustrated me, I genuinely think you could have done all of this cool fight shit in the build-up to this, like, that scene we just discussed, and just have made it... you could have done the thing where it's like, oh, it looks like we defeated it, and then it stands back up, and it's like, oh, no, it actually didn't do anything, and then you have the big, like, peacemaking scene. I think the fact that the aliens are just like, well, we're not going to call off the dog, you can deal with that, was ridiculous. I hated it.
It did feel a bit goofy, but I did like the fight scene and the team up.
Yeah, I was like a little mixed on how it came about, because I was just like, this feels like cheating.
Can I say one thing I do like a lot about this scene?
Go ahead.
What?
This is the most predictable shit I'm ever going to say in my life. I love how they're bringing up, like, there are bombs all over Tokyo. There's going to be a massive chain reaction. Then the Earth Kaiju show up to eat it.
Yes.
Like fucking watermelon or something. It was kind of weird, actually. But all the Earth Kaiju show up to do their part because they're hungry. And they save Tokyo from blowing up.
Yeah,
which is kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because they've seeded before, too, like... The reason the Earth Kaiju were doing the stuff they were doing was in preparation for this thing showing up, because they're feeling, like, territorially threatened. So I genuinely, I do think that's one of the things I kind of like about the show going on in the background, is that there is that split of, these aren't just all... all of these monsters kind of belong to a place, in a way, and they don't necessarily see eye to eye. As animalistic as they are, like, they have their territories, and the ones from space don't necessarily get along with the ones from Earth. I did like that. That was a fun dichotomy for me.
Teraki nodding sagely.
Yeah. When Teraki's like, the Earth's kaiju are defending the Earth, and he's like, I could feel his heart just singing. I was like, Teraki, my boy. The fight itself is pretty fun. Now, the bit of the episode I actually have opinions about is this is, I was like, very, very funny Taguchi, when Gento like internally like looks down at his left hand and he sees like the bracelet and the ring on his left hand glowing.
Yeah.
And then uses it to do a fucking, crosses his arms and does a spacium beam.
Yeah.
He
think
he does a family powered spacium beam.
Yeah, well, his son cheers him on.
Yeah, it's the first spacey beam of the show, so like
He doesn't, now, that boy does not know that's his dad.
No.
No.
His dad, who like did not say goodbye to him this morning, just like he promised, just left. And I was this is,
yeah, like
he gets he doesn't have to spend the show balancing his family life with his work life, really. He does it for like one episode because he doesn't. And then he uses like the signifiers of, I'm married and I have a kid, as his power up, as his like, I'm a family man. No, you're not. No, you're fucking not.
The thing that also killed me is they have the audacity to follow it up with the scene where someone's like, I wonder where the V99 have got off to, and he's like, they're all just looking for a home like we are, and maybe they'll find it in a Blazar far, far away. And then cut to him going back to his home with his loving wife and kid as he smiles and the show ends. And I was just like, you didn't deserve that.
Yeah, like
I'm just like, he does right. You can't use, when you're a superhero with a secret identity, you can't use your family as a power up like that if they don't know who you are. Like, if you're keeping your secret
Yeah.
from them, it has to be like even if you're not keeping your secret from them, the the fucking I just think
Like, I think I don't even think like the secret is the problem necessarily. It's the fact they're like barely in the show.
they're like they're not in the show, and he doesn't have to. They're not a.
They don't know he's Blazar at the end of the show.
They're not a problem. They're not like a problem for him.
No
when
one,
he's
no one
trying
knows
to
he's
do
Blazar at
things.
the end of the show.
No one knows he's
I-
Blazar at the end of the show.
I also thought that was a missed opportunity because, like, dealing with the fallout of that is like a background. I don't want to say stressor, but like it's a thing in the background of Gento's life this entire show, and then it just nothing happens with it. And maybe I assumed it when the episode ended. Oh, that's going to be a thing in the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, that was my assumption. I was like, okay, if it's not here, then it's going to be in the movie because like the movie is going to be like a follow up. And they
Yeah, but
do carry, like sometimes they do like use the movies to advance plots or characters.
now if I was writing this bad boy, I would have had the reveal happen here and leave it as an uneasy thing to end the show on, and then the movie deals with the emotional fallout with the span that a movie has. But no, Gento just fucking has his cake and eats it too.
yeah,
like
in multiple ways.
Theoretically, like the idea of like, oh, his family stuff is glowing and gives him the power up, and then he does the first space beam crossing his arms of the show for his final weapon.
but he
is
just doesn't work
conceptually
for it.
very cool, but like in this case, the show didn't earn it. And
It
I think
almost
kinda-
feels less like a family-powered spacium beam and more like a I can get away with an affair if I wanted to spacium beam. You know?
To be honest, that seems pretty powerful. Like, damn, you could just
Future, he yells as he.
damn, I could just handle it. It's like that voice actor.
She'll never look at my phone.
It's like that voice actor that tried to be married to two different women.
Shoutouts to Cloud Strife and McGillis.
Yeah.
I think
it
he
was
also.
McGillis.
I think the funny part is that same voice actor in like some future Ultra stuff voices the original Ultraman.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! So yeah, the Spasian beam happens. They defeat the kaiju, and then like Brad said, we had the whole like where do you think the V99 have gone? And Gento gives
He's
this whole speech,
beyond the
and then
Blazar.
and then he goes home to his wife and child that aren't in the show. Who should have been by like mandatory ruling, like at every like when this idea was first pitched, mandatory rule, every episode, either the wife or the child has to be in it.
Yeah, like we've talked a bit about it last week that we don't know that Return of Ultraman is doing a good job of making the cicadas a big part of Go's life.
But they're in it.
But it's doing a better job than this show.
Yeah, it's making me appreciate the Jiro check-ins that we get.
Yeah, like I know Jiro's name. Every time you mention that Jun's name is Jun, I'm like, oh yeah, his name's Jun. I don't know their names. That's why I call them the wife and the child.
We had to look up her name.
What is her name?
Sakato.
Oh. Sorry, Sakato.
You could be lying, I wouldn't know.
I think it's yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the... I know there's a show for kids, and it can't challenge things too much. But I do feel almost in a way maybe it's because they tried to do it all in this final episode, but the way they resolve the V99 stuff just feels a little too
Easy.
Like, they're just like, oh, you were covering it all up because you blew up the aliens. But if we just disarm, it'll be okay. And then it's okay. and they believe in the future, and also you gets off scot-free because they're like, I know that you did what you had to do at the time, but now let us do what we believe we had to do.
That line is unhinged. I believe you did what you had to do at the time. No, you don't. What do you mean? Don't say that.
You started a war, basically, and then also he laughed like a villain while he like stole your dad's journal from the fucking safety deposit box and then threw it in the fire. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
To exit the scene, he basically strokes his chin and goes, "Do as thou wilt," and then fucking walks off.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. You got this. Bye.
I'll say I like you, if only because when he sits down and looks grumpy, he has the squarest face of any man I've seen that isn't a cartoon. I love it.
I also think it is very funny for the ideology of the people of the show, just seeing like all of the countries of the world like turn off their missiles, and then it's distinctly the US, China, and Russia are the last ones to turn it off all at the same time.
All right, Japan. Japan, you don't get to say that about China. That one's off. You're not allowed. I can't, like, you know.
I was really anticipating one of those to, like, not go into disarm status and be like, oh, they fucked up and they're gonna fire anyways. And I was watching that map keenly to see.
Well, yeah, it's the US.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Joe Biden being like, yeah, we can take him.
Joe Biden versus the V-99. Let's go. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that I think the actual Spacian beam effect is really, I think it's a really cool Spacian beam.
Yeah, like
it was neat. It was
the
cool.
pieces of it are cool. It's just like in the context of the show, it falls flat.
Yeah. Anyway,
like if you told me, oh yeah, he gets powered up by his family and does the first Spacian beam of the show as the final attack, I'd say, oh, that's Kino. And then I watch the show, and this family isn't there, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I was frankly. Oh, go ahead.
The idea of a version of this show where he has been struggling to balance his superhero life with his family, and having to, if eventually like the secret comes out, and they like, instead of him running away in the middle of the fucking night and being like, well, I got the bracelet, that's like being a dad, he's like, his family like sees him off knowing that he's Blazar, and then at the end he pulls out the power up. That would be sick.
Yeah, it is funny how like the bracelet itself was good in the episode it was in, because he was like, oh, you're neglecting him, and then he shows that he cares through the bracelet,
and then he uses it to neglect him.
And then yeah, he's just like, he doesn't learn the lesson that there's more you need to do. It's just like, oh yeah, wearing the bracelet is enough.
Oh, thank God, my kid made me an accessory that I can attach to my character sheet that means I can negate the bad dad debuff. I don't have to actually think.
I like talking through this more. I'm also reminded that second to last episode, we kind of set up all the signifiers for like an Ultraman ending as we've experienced it so far, with like, oh, like the Ultraman's out of commissions and now it's up to humanity to like take charge and solve the problem, and our angelic / messianic figure goes back to, once they came, and humanity shows that they're all on their own shoulders and all that, and they like kind of set up for that and don't really do all that much outside of like showing like, oh hey, we have the ability to communicate with our enemies and make peace rather than cause more war and destruction. And on paper I would be cool with that, I think, because I am down for shows and long-running franchises like this to maybe pay homage and do a little bit of callback to the legacy of the thing, but then go their own way with something.
10 years of Ultraman.
Yeah, but what ends up happening is we get, like, Baby's first, like, oh, whoops, we accidentally shot the aliens and we probably shouldn't have done that, but it's okay, we're gonna apologize and be cool with it now. But my thing is that, like, that whole thing, as we've complained many times in the past few, like, weeks, is it's been so drip-fed throughout the show that it, like, for that to be kind of, like, one of the bigger things your ending is hinging on, it just feels like there are so many other things I would have rather that time have gone towards.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like
the family stuff.
It's like the first half of the show was all good. It's good because mostly got just good episodes, and then they saved the plot for the second half of the show, but also did it in like a weird drip feed way where sometimes we just cut to another standalone episode, and other times switch back to a complex episode. And then
the thing with the drip feed, they weren't big drops.
Yeah.
No, it was because most of it comes right at the end, and I'm like, well, at that point, why even drip?
Yeah,
feed?
I feel like I'd appreciate it more if like most of the things that happened in this episode were like spread out over the past like 5 to 10 episodes. Like,
yeah,
it feels so jarring to me. We had Go ahead.
Oh, if we had the knowledge of what had happened, like, before V99 ever showed up towards the end of the show, I think that would just be better. I'm generally all for kind of bringing the secrets out into the open, because usually, I'm gonna be honest, the audience isn't stupid and can actually guess what the secrets are. The idea that V99 were on, like, it's the idea that V99 were on their way for revenge, because we shot something down of theirs, it wasn't really a big revelation. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Could have done it earlier.
Yeah,
there's only so many things you could do with the alien showing up, right?
I didn't need an amateur astronomer friend to tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I've talked about it many times in the past before, but it did bother me so much that we had like the episode where they did the big thing about like her, like Emmy with her dad and the birthday, and they find the journal, and then it gets stolen in that very episode, and then the next episode is a completely unrelated episode about Teraraki, and it's like the booking and order of things feels weird. Like, individually, those episodes are good, but in the broader context, it's disjointed.
How fucking wild would it have been is when his dad ran his fingers through the soil at the end, he was like, wait, what's this? And then the journal was in the dirt. It wouldn't have made any sense, but it would have been fun. This farm is the perfect place to get rid of this journal with all this, high-level secrets.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything more to say about the finale?
Not really.
Yeah, I think we covered all we could.
Okay. Color timers. Before I forget.
Yeah, we have color timers. Also, we have a couple emails about Blazar specifically.
That's good.
Yeah, but we've forgotten color timers frequently recently. So
I'll just bring it up.
Yeah, let's go into color time. I also just want to after color timers, I want to just mention some of my favorite episodes of the show because I
feel like it's worth reflecting on the show. Like, we've done most of that already, but also So anyway, had fun with these ones. So episode 24, if we're just counting the time that Gento is transformed, is 2 minutes 20 seconds. For counting the time Blazar is on screen, is 3 minutes 31 seconds. But also, Blazar is technically still around, carrying into the next episode, so that changes things up. For episode 25, if you just count the parts where Gento and Blazar are transformed, it's 16 minutes 17 seconds. But if you count the parts where Blazar is like on screen as well, then that's 24 minutes 48 seconds. So, most of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you count the fact that, like, Blazar being on screen was, like, carried over from the last episode to this episode, the consolidated time is 28 minutes and 19 seconds.
Damn.
Yeah. That's
Damn.
wild.
Sick. So, Blazar as a whole, I would say, I like the show. I like the gang, and I think there are some standout episodes.
I think that's my takeaway as well. Sad to say, feel like it's maybe less than the sum of its parts, because I feel like
I agree.
Watching it episode to episode is really good. But when you take it as a whole, it doesn't feel like it coheres necessarily, and I feel like probably the weakest episode of the show has been the finale.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe also the one, like, two-parter with the eco-fascist.
My problem with this show is I think a lot of the really strong. So we were so fucking positive at the show at the start, and I still stand by that. Like, I think all of those character-centric episodes are phenomenal. Like, genuinely, what some of the best episodes of, like, any of the Ultra stuff we've seen. But the knowledge that, like, where the rest of the show goes with this cast, it's just like, I don't know if I ever really have it in me to, like, go back to this. I'm kind of bummed as a whole with, like, a lot of cool characters don't get a lot of cool stuff to do, or at least interesting stuff to do.
Yeah, it took like the second half to get a Turok episode.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the show may have been better if it just was more like Ultraman and Ultra 7, where they just did the episodic episode.
And then they just had, like, a big finale.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm almost leaning to.
And, like, I feel like they felt like in the current climate you couldn't do that. Like, the big finale had to be, like, a thing they tied to the show, but, like, I don't know. And also, ultimately, I do also...
I mean, I was just gonna say, Taguchi, you're the OG Ultraman fan. You want this. I know you do, secretly.
Yeah. And, like, I don't want to give opinions on Taguchi's other shows because I've seen them, but we will see them at some point in the future.
All right.
Sad to say, probably won't do Blazar second gig in 10 years.
I will forever treasure Gomenasai, My Name is Zangil-sama, and when I get
Zangil episode was good.
When I get hit with the beam that makes me take off my shirt.
Yeah. Garamon episode is peak.
The Garamon episode, absolutely fantastic. Pure fan service.
Made for us, specifically.
True. The Alien Kanan episode with Yasunobu and Garamon episodes are my two standouts. I really like the Henri episode, too, with, like, the oops, we accidentally gave this turtle kaiju giant fucking turrets. Yeah.
You mean one of my favorite Earth Gara moments where he does, like, fucking John Woo shit.
Yeah. I like, I think the first Amy episode was cool.
Yes, that too, where she gets to just do, like, cool spy shit.
I think
there's a lot of good episodes.
I guess that's the thing. It's like the show less than some of its parts, because the episodes are all really good. It's just like with the show as a whole, it's just weird, but, like, it's still enjoyable to watch because the individual episodes are on the whole really strong. I do feel weird. I do feel like retroactively, while I thought the Gento and Emi episodes were good when I watched them, I think the fact that because they're the main characters and the plot is about them, and then the show doesn't know what to do with them at the end of the day when it ends, it does make me feel like those episodes, which I thought were pretty good, feel a bit weaker in hindsight, because it's like, oh, that's where you're going. And meanwhile, like, sadly, they don't do as much with Yasunobu and Henri, but because of that, their standalone episodes are somewhat untarnished by the fact they don't do anything.
I can see that. A thing I'm thinking about a lot is also, as much as I enjoy a lot of this show, and I know I've said this before, I don't know how much of this is going to be stuff that sticks with me in the way that, like, the highs of, like, Q7 Man have. Like, I think I'll be thinking about, like, that stuff for a while. And Blazar stuff, while it's good character stuff, I don't really know if it's distinctive enough or really left so much of a mark with how strong the characterization was that, like, a year from now I'm gonna be like, damn, Terawaki's dad, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we'll have to see. But my sneaking suspicion is that I'm just kind of like, yeah, that was, like, good episodic storytelling, but I don't know.
I'm also in the position where the last couple of weeks I've been catching up on a better Toku adjacent show. I've been catching up on the new Precure, which just has the standard hierarchy of villains with every now and then we swap them out as they get defeated, and so there's progress made. And then also the plot stuff is like, we return to it every now and then, and you get some more plot, and then go back to episodic stuff, and it's all kind of mostly just tied in pretty well. It's just, I'm just having a good time with the new Precure.
Okay. How do you feel about Blazar compared to the original Ultraman?
Oh, Blazar compared to the original Ultraman? Blazar's better than the original Ultraman.
Yeah, pound for pound, I think Blazar's better. I do think Ultraman has higher highs, but that's exclusively because of Jisoji and like one or two other episodes that I think are really good. But episode to episode, Blazar is a much better show.
There is a 13-episode cut of the original Ultraman that is an incredible TV show. I'll tell you what, that 13-episode cut is not. It's not the skip list we made.
Our skip list wasn't about the quality of the episodes. It was about the truth. It's about the truth, goddammit.
Yeah. I like the gang. And tune in every week, and you get there's a new monster there isn't a new monster every week. Okay, you know what? That's a bit of an indictment of Blazar. There is not a new monster every week. There's fucking Gabalga and so Deltandel.
It even shows up a little bit getting the fucking eat the bombs at the end.
Yeah,
it does.
Kaiju who showed up more than Gento's family, to be honest.
Yes. What? Gento's family. Anyway.
You know what would have made this show 10 times better in my eyes? This wouldn't have actually solved anything, but it would have been funny. Should have been an episode where June turned into Kanagon.
Yes. Absolutely there should have been.
Yeah.
But like instead of greed,
no-brainer.
Instead of like the greed being monetary, it's like I want my dad to spend time with me more.
And the show's admonition of his want to see his dad.
Yes.
Yeah, the show is like, you're being too greedy. Your dad is his duty.
I don't know if in 2024 you could get away with having a guy terrorizing kids called Daddy Walrus. That might be too bad vibes, but
all right.
But I would love an episode where June gets punished for wanting to spend more time.
That would be an instant 10 out of 10 classic.
I'd argue that is what the show does already.
It basically does.
He leaves in the middle of the night with shaking the bracelet, going, "I'm a dad." No, you're not. You should get a DNA test.
Being a father is a state of mind.
All right. We have talked enough about. We need to move on to emails because we're at 50 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's the final episode, so it's gonna happen. But also, we do have another podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so this is from my friend Katia. So thank you for your email. She's emailing for the first time. Hey, I usually just ramble my thoughts direct to Mel, but I just want to say thanks to all you guys for fun companion listen to watching Blazar these past months. Makes it a two-part experience. The distance between my reactions as someone who's starting watching Ultraman with the 2010 stuff versus yours jumping into this from the 60s. My experience is more like hers. Asterisk, that's me. Her going, wow, this is so restrained toy-wise. We're like halfway through the show and there's been no form. It's just a news laser attack. Even the transformation device is pretty dignified. Because she's,
Yeah, and meanwhile, me and Brad are like, damn, the toys keep showing up.
Yeah. You haven't experienced man, this new laser tech is so obviously toyetic, the way he just pulls a little plastic disc into this big toy transfer thing. Just a fun contrast to expectations. I actually had the exact thought brought up here. I wish this was there was a version of the show without Ultraman in it about a recent season, Ultraman Z, which is another recent show with a defense team. It's the previous Taguchi show.
Taguchi, you got to be brave one day. You got to remove Ultraman.
Yeah, I won't tell you too much.
You gotta make a Thunderbirds.
I won't spoil too much about it, but I will say that like there's stuff you can see, like ideas carried forward from Z into Blazar.
Okay.
Especially. Which we'll get to eventually.
How many? Okay, so you don't need to like go into too far. How many Ultra shows has Taguchi made or like been involved in like a serious capacity?
I remember going through it in the beginning when we started Blazar. Off the top of my head, he's been the director for this show, Zet, and then previously before that Orb.
Is he okay?
And he's also done like episodes director stuff as well.
I'm walking into a minefield. Is he the Filoni of like modern Ultra shit?
What's Filoni mean?
Filoni,
like
Dave Filoni, Star Wars. Dave Filoni is the guy who did the Clone Wars show. He was like one of the guys in charge, and then they moved on to
every fucking TV thing since
after the Disney acquisition, moved on to Rebels, and then got transferred. They've kind of, they've moved him into live action via The Mandalorian, and they've
he also did Ultraman X, which is another new generation show. So
okay.
He's done a lot. He's done a significant proportion of the new generation Ultraman shows.
Okay.
Filoni is Filoni is a very specific thing. I don't know that a guy who directs multiple shows is necessarily a Filoni. Mal, I want you to Google Dave Filoni, and I want you to see what this man looks like. I want you to see how he dresses.
It's not what you're expecting.
Why is he wearing a cowboy hat?
Yeah.
It's his favorite thing.
That's his thing.
That's his thing.
I think he should pick a different thing.
His thing is cowboy hats and Plo Koon.
Okay.
Do you know who Plo Koon is?
No.
It's this guy.
See, the reason I asked is because he is also a super fan of like The Thing, and then got put into making a shit ton of it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like there's a bunch of like the people who are making Modern Ultraman are probably fans of
that makes sense.
And like that's probably both for budget money reasons and also the fans making it reason is part of why the more recent shows are heavily like into the lore. Also, that's an interesting alien design.
Yeah, that's Plo Koon. Phantom Menace, and the prequels classic guy that people know the name of for some reason. All right. Yeah. I don't.
Just to
go ahead.
Just to continue the email, she just mentions that Zet has gayer Vegeta in it. That's the thing.
Damn.
You'll have that no context for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to that.
She also notes, which is, more directed to you than to me, because I know this because I talked to her. She's like, they specifically is skipping the Q email since she's been too busy with 80 Sentai to get to the show Ultra's past Q yet. But if there's one show to have watched before Blazar, or in general, it's that, because, Garamon episode. She's looking forward to eventually, maybe in years' time screen, to get to the other ones, at which point we'll be significantly further along the podcast, but that's fine.
Ultra 7 is worth your time.
Yeah.
I
still think it's a miracle we did that Kanan episode, was it a week after the Blazar callback episode to it?
Yes, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next email is by Sir Sir.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
His email is divided in half this week because he has a Blazar part and a Return of Ultraman part. So we'll get to the one of those.
Thank you, Cydrix.
Always putting in the work. Hold holding your hat. It's time for Drexler's big Blazar series review thing. I'll try and keep certain things as vague as possible, comparing the show to the ones you haven't seen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Unless you're Mel, who is probably able to tell what I'm talking about in this case, is yes, I will be able to probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, just going to do this discussing the whole series as a whole, but in general, the show is definitely above average in comparison to some of the more recent preceding shows. The last one I really liked was the one from 2009.
Damn.
2019, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Much more normal. More normal.
There wasn't even a show from 2009.
I was about to be like, Mel, we have to cancel the podcast.
I think Red and I both looked at like the camera and we're like, we're in danger. Like for a second there.
Don't worry, that's like 10 years away. It's not 10 years away. I did a lot of things right, like the characterizations, mostly. Certainly the special effects works and general episode direction. I'm really glad the show didn't fully commit to the bit the first episode kind of implied the show was going to take. While I do like the idea of more grounded, serious take on Ultraman, I think history has shown us that doing that doesn't necessarily lead to positive results in the financial returns department.
Mm-hmm.
RIP. Regardless, the series shows how willing both creative staff are able to experiment and how much goodwill Bandai has in them to make a show that is less mandated by them than the previous shows have been. Given that early iteration of Blazar was pitched 10 years ago, but has only now been allowed to come to fruition, really proves how much hard work in building a professional output can lead you to crafting your dream team project in the end. Speaking of Bandai, I'm glad they seem to finally clicked on that, unlike Rider or Sentai, where the hero vinyls and gimmick toys are what sells, with Ultraman as the monster, so having the large cast of new creatures made it feel like an old school season again, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Best new kaiju is not Deltandle. They are also sick of it. Goes without saying, but the fight scenes and stuff were pretty stellar, some of the best ones we've gotten in a while. While I'd be lying if I said this is my fave cast of human characters any season, I definitely don't also like any of them. I know I'm the music person here, but while it wasn't a bad score, the only song I'll be remembering out of it is the first OP, and maybe the main battle theme. Mm-hmm. I think you should remember...
To be fair, that OP is pretty sick. I still still listen to that when I'm, exercising sometimes.
It's a good OP. I haven't listened to it in a while, but yeah, it's a good one.
Trying to get in those Yasunobu gains.
My main issue in something that plagues a lot of Ultraman shows in the last 10 years, they clearly have a start point and end point planned out from the pre-production, but then outside of seed planting occasionally, wait until the last 3 to 5 episodes to go, oh shit, the plot. Well, look forward
to listening to the rest of this episode.
Cram the last episodes trying to wrap everything up. I mean, I get this approach, doesn't mean I have to like it though. We'd rather spend the plot points out a bit more, or at least not do something that only reveals the show's antagonist for us 10 minutes before the show finishes. Basically, if some of the episode placements were arranged, I think it would have improved a bit. Suppose an episode's movie length of deleted footage was shot for the last few episodes, so who knows how different it could have been. Gento being it was also just such a non-factor. I think it's strange how much they made a big deal of it, in much the same way that the initial character reveal detailed how Anna is a cosplayer, which came up a grand total of never in the show. What?
I don't remember this.
Yeah, it didn't happen. They didn't talk about the show, but apparently they revealed the character and she's a cosplayer. I don't remember this.
Well, is it her that came up with the costumes for the thing that they had to do?
Maybe. He says he doesn't want to go on too much longer, but you know what? In the end, still a good show. Probably the 5th favorite season of the last 10 years. Nowhere near all-time favorites. Now all that's left is to make... is what is sure to be a fun but ultimately superfluous movie in like a month's time. So yeah, that's the
nice
Blazar portion of that email.
Nice. Thank you for your email, Cedrixa. We look forward to reading the rest of your email on Thursday.
Because that's how it works.
That's how. True. Yes. We record on the day. We're not. Yeah. We look. Cedrixa, we look forward to reading your email in like an hour and a half.
But yeah, we blazed.
We that was bullshit blazing.
That really was bullshit blazing.
Title secured.
Yes.
I was so smart for saying that in the first episode.
It's I do an unintentional fucking full circle callback. Yes. Bookends.
They should have got us to write an Ultraman show with the way we're good at writing.
We would write. On the one hand, it's a joke. On the other hand, we would have done a better job with Gento's family. I believe this.
I know people saying criticism is different than writing, but also sometimes
I would, once again, I would simply make the entire show be about how he's having a weird affair with Ultraman. He keeps having to take off his wedding ring to transform.
Did you see that tweet going around about the screenwriter for The Godfather?
No.
He wrote the screenplay for The Godfather, not knowing anything about film screenwriting, and apparently was deeply embarrassed by the fact that, like, oh god, like, it took off and everyone loves it, and, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was never taught this. I don't know what's going on. I just wrote what I thought would be good. I should really learn how to do screenwriting, like, properly by people that actually know what they're doing. So he bought the book that was most recommended at the time on the subject, and it had a whole chapter that was like, I mean, honestly, you should just learn from The Godfather. And he was like... funny. And he's like, "Oh, you can just do it. You can just write it."
All right. We're done. I think.
Yeah.
We're out of here.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Plugs. If you want to follow the show, you can do so on Twitter at ultra_Q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at gender_redacted. Mel.
You can follow me at Dear Crowns, at Twitter, Blue Sky, ultraQpod@gmail.com is email. UltraQ Fund is coffee. Forgot about that. Also, this is YouTube. If you're not listening to our YouTube, and if you're listening to YouTube, there's an audio feed. Brad.
Yeah, you can find me at B_invoked on Twitter, or B_invoked, all one word, no space, on Blue Sky. I think my co-host has officially gone the way of insert dead thing here. I can't think right now. I'm too blazed out. Yeah, you can also find me at Canopus Invoke on YouTube. Me and my friend Jake just finished streaming all of the Tekken story modes in the lead up to 8 here, and you can watch me have a fun time playing Tekken 7 story mode for like 3 hours, and then fighting the bonus boss for 3 hours, and then coming back for a second stream the day after, where I just give up and use the easy inputs and beat it in like 10 minutes.
Nice.
My hubris was my downfall.
Yes. It often is. It's kind of the definition of hubris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. That is it. That is a show. We're done.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
We're done.
Goodbye.
We'll probably, inshallah, in a month from now, the movie will be out, and hopefully someone will make it viewable for all of us within like a day or two of it coming out, and then
Please, thank you. Please.
Like, I looked it up, and it seemed like the Decker movie came out on the Cat site pretty quickly, so... I mean, I'll legally download it somewhere, but
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're not Resident Evil. We would not snitch.
Yeah. It'll probably be like an Ultraman connection anyway, for people who want to watch it legally. We'll work for it out.
All right.
But yeah, probably in like a month. When it happens, it happens.
When it happens, it happens. We will be there to watch it and talk about it, and then there'll be an episode. There'll be another Skip in the Queue. But
it'll be the nenext episode of Skip in the Queue.
But after that,
the final one.
Yeah, we're taking a fucking break because Ultraman takes breaks. Thank God.
Yeah, there is a new show airing right now. It's the recap show. We're not watching that, obviously.
Yeah, sick. All right. Goodbye. There will be an episode of Ultra Q covering 3 more episodes of Return of Ultraman coming out on Thursday. Yeah. Bye.
Goodbye.
Later.
Don't ignore your wife and children.
Who?